Alrighty, guys. This is it. My first run in over a month on my officially broken toe. And it is hot in the middle of the day. So let's just see how this goes. Hey guys, so I am finally out there running again, and I'm really excited about that. I broke my toe a little over a month ago, and so I talked to you about that last time, dealing with injuries. And as much fun as I have doing some of the cross-training activities that I covered before, I really would rather be out there running, at least in addition to the cross-training stuff. So now that I'm back doing it, I'm experiencing what a lot of you have been experiencing so far this summer, the heat. It is so hot out there for some of my runs. And yeah, it'd be nice to get out there super early before it gets hot, and that's definitely one way you can deal with the heat, but that's not always reasonable. In fact, sometimes when it is a really hot day, before the sun comes up, it can be too warm to run at your best. So I thought today I would talk about some tips to help you deal with the heat when you need to get out in it. And so one of the first ways that you can deal with the heat is to get ahead of it and slow down on your own before the heat causes you to slow down. Studies show that 55 degrees Fahrenheit is the perfect running temperature. And for every few degrees hotter than that or colder than that, we tend to see a decrease in performance. So the way to deal with this in advance as you're going out in the heat is look at the temperature, and for every 5 degrees warmer than that 55 degree perfection, slow down an extra 30 seconds per mile. Jeff Galloway has a chart that lays all this out for you, and I'll show that here now so that you can see what he has in mind. Now, for some of us who are used to running in the heat, who live where it's never below 60 degrees or almost never, and it spends several months out of the year above 80 degrees, this chart would have us walking pretty much the whole time. So if we're not going to do that, if our body is used to running in the heat and we feel like we can do it safely, what are some other tips that can help us be successful and handle the heat? Now, one thing that I will absolutely not run without, especially in the heat, is my squoosh band. I love the squoosh. This thing was designed to help us deal with the heat. There's terry cloth here on the outside. It's elasticized so that it can fit around my arm or my hand, and there's a little sponge inside. And this might sound a little bit gross, but as I'm sweating and I wipe down the sweat, I can squeeze that out, and it actually cools this off and gets the water, the sweat off of me and away from my body. This is a terrific device that is it's ideal for running in the hot weather, and sometimes when it's really hot, I will carry 2 of them. Also, when I'm out trail running, I will dip this in a stream that I'm passing by and then squeeze it out over my head, and that really cools me off. Now, another running accessory that we can't be without right now, this also happens to come from Squoosh, is our neck gaiter. This is a tube. I can wear it as a headband. That can kind of help keep me cooled off as well. But these days, I run with it around my neck all the time because, you know, we need to be able to pull it up as a mask at times. But this works really well to help wipe the sweat away and things like that when needed. But this is even better because if this gets drenched, it can be hard to breathe through if you need it for that purpose. Now, as far as other things to wear when you're running, pretty much as little as you can get away with, as little as modesty will allow you to get away with. Jeff Galloway is not a fan of wearing hats when we run. So a lot of our Galloway program members have these visors. Visors have the advantage of helping you keep the sun out of your eyes, but without covering up the top of your head. The top of your head is best left open so that the heat can escape from your body that way. Now, for those that like wearing a hat, I have a couple of suggestions. I love, when I'm out hiking, I love to wear something like this that has this neck drape to keep the sun off of my neck. And a lot of my friends out hiking in Colorado will use this as well. Now, this is probably not something I would use much in Florida, honestly, because it's pretty thick material, although it does have some terry cloth here. This is made by a company called Sunblock. But the hat I absolutely love and has been really helpful in running in extreme heat is this one here. This is made by Head Sweats. And what I love about this hat is that it is light, it is really absorbent, it's got the same thing on the neck, and when I ran the Keys 100-mile race, which is held in May, goes from Key Largo to Key West, my crew would take this hat and dump it into a bucket of ice water every 2 miles while I was running. They met me every 2 miles. They would grab this hat. They would dunk it into ice water. It would come out dripping wet. I'd throw it onto my head, and oh man, it felt fantastic. It really did. It absorbed that cool water. It was terrific for that. The other thing that they did, and so that's a trick you could use for yourself. Another thing that they did, which is not something you could do on your own, you need help for that, but they would spray me down with cold water when I came in. As one person was dunking my hat in the bucket, they would spray me down. Probably not something you're going to do on your own, but if you're out doing mile repeats in the heat or something like that, 800s, and you've got a kid or another family member or friend that's there that wants to pretend that they are the pit stop as you're coming around on the track, that can be really useful and really helpful. Now, there's one other piece of clothing that I want to share with you, and this again might be a little bit more than what you are looking for, but if you have to run in extreme heat, this really does the trick. This is a shirt called a Skin Cooler, and it's by DeSoto, and it's a very thin, long sleeve shirt. And you say, well, why would I want to wear long sleeves in the heat? Well, because the sun will burn your flesh, and these shirts are designed that when they are wet, they keep you cool, and they are also keeping the sun off of you. So DeSoto has some really good products. I bought this one white, and then I had somebody put the Galloway logo on it. But this is the secret. This is what's so awesome about this particular shirt. Those are pockets. There are 3 pockets. 1 up here at the top, 2 down here toward the bottom, 3 pockets. And those are right on your spine when you're wearing this. And what's great about that is my friends would take baggies full of ice and put those in those pockets while I was running. And so I had ice right on my back. And yeah, by the time I got 2 miles down the road and saw them again, some of that ice had melted, but that's okay. They just replaced them the next time I saw them. Fantastic way of dealing with the extreme heat during that race. Again, that might be a little bit much for you, but one of these Skin Cooler shirts, when it's wet, will keep you nice and cool, and even when it's wet from your own sweat. So it's a good garment that's worth investing in. DeSoto Skin Cooler shirt. Now, another good tip for dealing with the heat when you're running is to make sure you have lots of water available, not just to drink, but maybe more importantly, to dump on your head. Keeping your head wet and cool will help a lot. Right now, when you're going out and running from your house, you can make a plan to loop back to your house every few miles, dump water on your head, and then head back out. When it's hot, that's a really good technique for keeping yourself cool. If you live someplace where it's okay for you to drive to a park or go someplace like a track, a destination run, you could have a cooler set up there for you with lots of ice water to dump on you, that sort of thing as well. Another thing that you can do when you're running, if you're going to loop back to your house, is change your shirt, change your shorts, change everything if you want to. Putting on a nice, clean, dry shirt, shorts, socks, and shoes, too, if you've got another pair of shoes to change into, can make you feel much better during the run. The bottom line when you're dealing with running in the heat is that you need to remember what the goal of your workout is. If the goal of your workout is a long run aimed at endurance, you can walk that distance and still get that benefit, which means slowing down is fine. Add extra walk breaks if you need to, walk the distance if you have to, take a little break inside in the air conditioning if you feel yourself getting overheated. If the workout that you are doing is a tempo run that's based on a particular race pace, you can break that run up into race effort segments. Instead of doing, say, 5 miles at race pace, you could do 5 by 1 mile at race pace, where you push race pace for a mile and then walk to recover, cool off, and then go again. These are not like mile repeats you would do for speed work, because those would be faster than race pace. Instead, you're just doing race effort, race pace, for segments that are short enough and safe enough to get in considering the heat. If the run you are going to do is a speed workout, where you're doing a certain number of repeats at faster than race pace, it's important for you to hit the pace that's assigned. So if that's the workout for the day and it's a really hot day that's going to require adjustment, you can consider cutting the distance in half and doubling the number of repeats that you're doing. So if it's a day when you're going to do 4 1-mile repeats, you could plan to do 8 half-mile repeats. Or if you're getting out and it's still a little bit cool, you could do a mile repeat, see how it feels, do your second mile repeat, see how it feels. If it's starting to get warm, you've got 2 1-mile repeats left, turn those into half miles, and now you have 4 half-mile repeats to do. That would give you the opportunity to cool down in between those mile or half-mile repeats and use some of the other strategies we've talked about. Dumping water onto your head, changing your shirt, coming into the air conditioning for a short time if you need to. Always remember, running is supposed to be fun. There are ways to have fun in the heat. There's sometimes joy in pushing yourself when it's extreme. But if the temperature is too hot for you, or the humidity is too high for you to be safe, call it quits, walk home, pull out your favorite recovery beverage or favorite beverage to help you cool off, and live to run another day. I know you're going to live to run another day. I'm excited that I'm back running again. If you need anything at all, please reach out. Chris@jeffgalloway.com.